This is the coolest office in Green Valley. We get our asses up. There you go. That's how we do it here. Take note, Janet. Take notes. Take notes, Janet. Janet's furiously writing notes. They stand up at Green Valley. I don't know what to do. Well, welcome, everyone. Welcome to Green Valley in our sales meeting, Signature Life. We do have our speaker here, so we don't have to do our dancing. So welcome, Career Nevada and Serena. So with that, Roya, our associate broker, here we go. Give her a hand. Good.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for everybody being here. There's breakfast. Make sure you help yourselves before you leave today. We want to start it off with Miss Janet. Come on up and talk a little bit about some things that are coming up. Yay!
Yay! Okay, we have a lot of stuff going on. First of all, tomorrow there is a CE class at Southwest on ethics. Please RSVP if you plan on attending, and it's totally free. If you're a new agent within your first year of licensing, post-licensing will be offered via Zoom, and it will be October 16th through the 20th, 9 to 4, Monday through Friday. Okay, next Tuesday, if you read your newsletter that came out late yesterday afternoon, there's been a change in the program for next Tuesday's office meeting. It will be on business planning, but immediately after the office meeting at 11 o'clock, I'm kind of excited about this. We have Ryan from Ticor Title who will be teaching a class called Scary Stories, Frauds and Scams. And it's at 11 o'clock, so you can come to the office meeting. When the meeting's over, get a cup of coffee and come back in and listen to the Ryan Scary Stories. Friday, October the 20th is the LVR General Membership Luncheon and CE class. The only CE class they've given all year. It's totally free. Just RSVP, show up and sign in. I will be reserving 2 tables. First come, first serve. The only rule is if somebody from ABC Realty decides to come and sit down at our table, we can't kick them out. So that you can do, absolutely. Also, I want to remind you, Monday, October 23rd at 11 o'clock at Southwest, Ticor Titles back in the house with a class on farming. And then the last thing I want to mention is Brandon is teaching the last Signature Real Estate class for the year, Signature Real Estate Academy. It will be at Southwest, Monday through Friday, October 30th through November 3rd, 8 to 5. And it is a full week commitment. If you can't make the commitment, don't come. But it's well worth your time to show up. This is free. Brandon puts his heart and soul into this, and if he's willing to donate 40 hours of his time to educate you and help you get business, you can give him back 40 hours. And that's kind of all I have. There's more, but it's all in your newsletter that came out yesterday afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. And of course, don't forget every day at Spanish Ridge, they are doing cold calls in the morning. So you guys should really be up there taking advantage of the role playing and all the work that we're doing. And also, don't forget the third week of this month, as always, on Thursday, we are going to also have the prospecting workshop here. So we have breakfast, you usually have a sponsor, and then we do role plays, and then you guys can get on the phone. And I know that you guys all need to be there. We have Tyson, Beta, Stephanie, all of us are coming out there. I know that a lot of you from in here, Joaquin, you're always there, Jeff, I mean, you guys are always there, so make sure that you come out there, Nicole, as well. So this is a great way for you guys to get into good practice. Cynthia, you're like MVP, man. Yes. So make sure you guys come out to that. In addition to that, we also have Mortgage Moments right now from Miss Shelley. Yay!
Thank you. Guess what day it is? It's, okay, today is, where are you guys today? Today's Tuesday, so happy Tuesday. It is also game 1 of season 7. Guess what? There. Thank you. All right. So can you do me a huge favor? I'm going to put you guys on my social media. Can you say back to back? Ready? 3, 2, 1. Yes. All right. So I was actually going to show you guys my homebuyer playbook, and it was going to be in the spirit of football. However, because today is game 1, I'm going to do it based off of hockey. You guys okay with that? All right. Oh, look at that. Sorry, that's such a horrible hockey rink, but there it is. This is my homebuyer playbook in the hockey version. So I want to talk a little bit about what it looks like where our interest rates are at today. I have my handy dandy clicker back there. All right, so assuming sales prices today at $450,000, interest rates of 7.5%, principal and interest payment of $2,517. I don't know how many of you have this question that's posed by some of our buyers. I get it all the time. Is this the right time to buy? 50-50, or are you guys thinking, hearing that like 90%? So when I show this to them, I actually share this information with them. So this is today. Rates are a little bit higher today, but 7.5% principal and interest, not including taxes, insurance, homeowners insurance, and HOA, $2,517. What do you think the buyer demand looks like today? Beta. This. People are just on the standing. They're in the stands looking. Would you agree? There's a few that have to buy and sell today. How are you guys feeling about that? What do you guys think? Is that an accurate picture of where today is? Okay. Here is the thought. What if the thought is that the sales prices will remain the same, but interest rates go down? It'll make your principal and interest taxes or principal and interest payment $2,395. What do you think the buyer demand looks like then? Rates go down. Better? Beta. Ding, ding, ding. The drama. It's nighttime, right? Do you think that's what's going to happen if sales prices stay the same, but everybody's waiting for interest rates to drop? Do you guys feel like that's when you're going to see a lot of buyers out there? Demand is going to be higher. What's going to happen to the inventory? Even prices may actually go up. All right, so let's take another example. Prices go up. Interest rates go down. Look at that principal and interest payment, $2,634. What does that look like for our buyer demand? Sit back down. Let's see. Beta, what do you think that looks like? They're confused. Oh, somebody's throwing out our football. A little bit confused, right? Wait. You want us to go backwards now? Ellie. 450. 450, 7.5 today was 25 something, 2,500. Okay, so today, a little confused, right? What just happened to the market? All right, next. So sales prices go up and interest rates go up. How many of you guys think that's going to happen? Higher than 8%. Look at the payment, $2,905. What do you think is going to happen to our buyer demand? What do you think the stands are going to look like then? This is COVID, but the analogy is that there are nobody's in the stands today, right? Perhaps that could be the case. You think buyer demand would look like that? Here's sales prices go down, interest rates go up, payments actually pretty good, lower than what we initially, when we're at today. What do you think demand would look like in this case? This is that one buyer that's like, I told you sales prices are gonna fall, free fall, and then interest rates go up. That's actually Kane, sorry. And then, I don't mean to put profanity on our sales meetings, but that's that. All right, what's our next one? So this is actually what is reported to say. So the referees are coming out there based off of, go ahead and click the next slide, Beta. So based off Case-Shiller, FHFA, CoreLogic, Black Knight, it is actually saying our pace to close out this year is that that sales prices are going to be up. Would you guys agree on that? Sales prices have gone up. Go ahead and click the next slide, Beta, please. Here's what it looks like the refs are saying about interest rates. Based on Fannie Mae, MBA, NAR, going into the end of this year, I know we're in a little bit of an emotional set right now, going into next year that rates will actually come down. So we think about our stands and what the fan base is going to look like. How do you educate, go ahead and click one more, Beta. How do you educate our clients today whether this is the right time to buy? I actually take my clients through that exact analogy. It looks a little bit different for us, but if based off of what the refs are saying, sales prices increase, this is an increase of 10%, maybe that's a little bit higher, decrease of 0.5 point in interest rates. Look at the difference in payments, 2005-17 to 2006-34. That's what they're projecting Q1. Q4, Q1. One more, Beta. And the last thing that I will leave you with, one more, sorry, not the confusion of the Stanley Cup, is this. Skate where the puck is going, not where the puck has been. What does that mean to you guys? Think about that today, right? We're in a high rate environment. Market feels the way that it feels. Everybody has different emotions on what that play is going to look like. You saw the different plays that can actually happen in a buyer's mind. People have to sell, people have to buy today. From a marketing perspective, from our business perspective, where do you think that the puck is going? And wherever that is, you need to go all in on that at the end of this year to finish this year strong and also to build up your momentum. And then the last thing I would say is we at Prosperity and Lending would love to be part of your playbook. So please reach out to any of us. Actually, Jason's made a return back. He's here, Jason Mavora. We brought him back into the lineup. So Jason, Gabby, myself, Myra, Tony, Jared, we're all here. Jennifer, we're all here to help you guys. Thank you so much. Go Knights, go! Back to back.
Thank you, Shelly. That's awesome. Well, like she said, there's always a sale. Somebody's trying to buy a house. Somebody's trying to sell a house. What do we have for wants and needs today? Come on, Nicole.
I've got a couple buyers. I'm looking for one of something that's not listed yet in Seven Hills in the $1 million range or so. And then in this general Henderson area, but it could be Summerlin too, $1 million to $2 million, really great backyard, over 4,000 square feet. So if you have any listings that aren't listed yet, but they're coming available, I would be interested to know.
Fantastic. Great. Who else? Who has somebody that needs to sell a house, buy a house? And everything's in contract right now. Fantastic. Keith, come on up. Conrad. Okay, come on, Conrad. Woo-hoo!
I have a buyer looking in Coronado High School area, 1-story, 3-car garage, up to 1.2 if it's fixed up, that must have a pool, must be 4 bedrooms.
Perfect. What do we have? Do we have anything? I have one. Come on up. Woo! And it's in Seven Hills. And it's 4 bedrooms. Come on, come on.
Somebody else has got something too, so come on up.
Come on
So I
up. Just
have
start
one
lining
in,
up right here.
Seven Hills, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, just under 3,000 square feet, 1.3 with a pool and spa. Oh, sorry, here. And then I have another one, 3-bedroom, pool in Seven Hills, 2,600 square feet, and it's 1.150.
Oh, that's right. We have 2 of them up there.
Yep.
I remember. So what do we have for Seven Hills? Okay. Come on up, Nicole. Oh, you got somebody for. Okay, so Nicole's going to talk to you about those listings. What else do we have out here? Buying, selling, anything? And Nicole has one more. There we go. Now we're getting there.
I need a rental property under 425 in the Henderson area, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, that's not crap. So that, and then, yeah, under 425. No, I need a purchase for a 1031 exchange. For sale. I have a, yeah, no, forget about it. And I just forgot the other one. Yeah, just forgot it.
Remember? All right, just think about it if it comes up. So who else? Who else do we have? Come on up, Tyson. Nicole, keep thinking about what you're going to say.
All right, so I have a buyer working with Jason. He kind of works some magic, and since some of the requirements changed, we've actually have a 4-plex buyer now instead of a duplex, and it's around 500 to 600,000. So if you guys have a 4-plex coming up around that, kind of range, let me know. Also have a buyer just kind of looking in all areas of Vegas for a, single family home, 3 bedrooms under 375. They would kind of prefer the single story. It's kind of rare out there, but if you guys have anything that fits either of those, let me know.
Thank you. And does that have to be anywhere in particular, the under 375 one? The most central, or the least central? Okay. The better for him. Okay. Okay, what else do we have? Did you remember? No. Okay, anything else? Okay, Keith, take it away.
Good job, everybody. All right, so there's a lot of chatter out there about the last couple weeks about NAR and what's going on with the lawsuits and everything else. One of the unique things about Nevada, and I believe, and I stand to be corrected, but I'm usually not, because I'm usually right. We're unique in the entire country in the way that we approach government affairs. We all understand what NAR does from us, or at least I hope you all understand what they do for us from an advocacy standpoint. Really, frankly, if that's all they did, it would be worth the couple $100 that it costs you every year to join. And let's set the record straight. It's not thousands and thousands of dollars. It's a couple $100 to belong to NAR. Now, this isn't a pitch to stay with NAR, to leave with NAR. That's your decision, or actually it's the brokerage's decision on whether they want you to or not. But here in Nevada, here's why it matters, is we've got what's called Carrera Nevada. And back in 2001, 2002, we took on this project to run the entire state from a government affairs standpoint. So all the state programs, all the local programs are all run through Carrera Nevada. And why do you think that matters? Unity. The squeaky voice in the back. Unity. That's right. We all speak with one voice, obviously, but we all have one singular effort to go forward. Every association in the state, the state program, all has a single focus. We know where we're going. We know what we do. We know how to handle things locally. And frankly, there's nobody that does it better than Carrera Nevada. They've done a couple of great things. First, when I was actually started with the association with Carrera Nevada, and we hired Isabel Beaumont from Annette. Isabel, you're proud I got that out. She was a great hire. The second and the most talented hire we've ever had is Serena Kasama. Her mom, you may have heard about, Haiti, would never have been elected. This isn't live, is it? Well, she would never have been elected without Serena. Serena was a key part of her campaign, and so we welcome her. She's with Carrera Nevada. She's our local GAD, the Government Affairs Director, immensely talented person, and when you listen to her, you're going to hear Haiti come out of her. So very much like Haiti, and we're all very proud of her. So with that, give a great round of applause to Serena Kasama.
Wonderful. Okay, I'll move on over here. Well, my goodness. Okay, well, I certainly appreciate the kind words, and I will say probably the best hire was actually Rocky, but, I like to think that I'm... No. Okay, I recant. But, yes. Yeah, so hello, everyone. My name is Serena Kasama, and I am the local GAD, or Government Affairs Director. Carrera does hold the state contracts. We represent Nevada Realtors, the local association here in the South, LVR, as well as Reno Sparks, Incline Village, Douglas County, whatever it may be up in the north. I have a counterpart up in northern Nevada, Aden Downey. But here there are a lot of issues that happen at a local level, but then every other year in the state of Nevada, there is the state legislative session that occurs. We're pretty unique amongst other states that we have a part-time legislature that only convenes every other year. So when it happens, it's all hands on deck. We all go up to Carson City, and we do our best to represent the realtor industry. So with that in mind, there are several issues that we just want to give you a brief update that happened at the state level this year. So the state legislature met, over 1,000 BDRs, as we call it, or bill draft resolutions were proposed. Only about 500 or so were actually signed into law by the governor, so you can see kind of the attrition rate for bills that get introduced. And then of all of that, about a little over 90 bills is what the Nevada Realtor Association tasked Carrera Nevada with tracking during the session. So there's about 90 or so bills that directly impacted the realtor industry. And they do that by a variety of means. One is, tax structure. We saw proposed increases to the real property transfer tax, and so obviously you can understand the impact that could have on the industry. Great example of a bill with good intentions and unintended consequences, right? Let's raise the real property transfer tax in order to then fund mental health, services. And so that is a good example where we step in and we advocate. We certainly agree with, mental health awareness, but we believe that there are other avenues that wouldn't impact first-time home buyers as much. The other was property tax formula. One of the biggest selling points for real estate in Nevada to out-of-state buyers is our great tax environment, right? No state income tax, no estate tax, low property taxes. Well, there was a bill that was proposed this session that would have targeted the property tax formula and how it's calculated here in Nevada. So that bill was killed by the own bill sponsor. You might want to know why a legislator would introduce a bill like that and then kill it herself. Well, the reason why is she got the conversation going, which was her goal. So in the interim, there will be conversations about the property tax formula here in the state of Nevada, probably to be addressed in an upcoming session or so. So definitely keep your eye out on that, and we'll be working closely with our legislative team to address that. Some other issues are property management. I don't know quite the makeup of this office in terms of how much property management plays a big role, but that is certainly a subcategory, if you will, of real estate that is heavily under fire at the legislature. So some examples are there was a bill to kind of tweak or overhaul the summary eviction process. That would be adjusting the kind of deadlines that are used. The landlord would have to take action first, X, Y, and Z. So that is one example. The other would be, home warranties, and really trying to bring down the hammer on home warranty companies, which also plays into the property management realm. The other is putting a cap on the fees that property managers can impose on renters. So that would be on rental application fees, that would be on cleaning deposit, that would be on X, Y, and Z. So huge impact on the property management business model if that was to be passed. Variety of others. One of the big ones for us was rent control. So I don't know if you all saw, it actually originated at the local level. So I first handled it over in the city of North Las Vegas. There was a rent control ballot initiative that was proposed by the Culinary Union. That was, they filed that in May of last year, and then it was finally put to bed August. So that was a months-long work to kill the rent control ballot initiative. But the same players operate at the state. So there was several bills that came forward in the legislature that were specifically addressing rent control and trying to allow local authorities to be able to enact it if they so choose, and so on and so forth. Luckily, we can report that all of those did in fact die at the legislature. Now, it is the opinion and the position of the Las Vegas Realtors and the Nevada Realtors as a whole, NAR, if you will, the entire real estate industry, that we are adamantly opposed to rent control. Doesn't mean, though, that we don't sit at the table when it comes to affordable housing. We believe in other solutions, and that is why you saw some great bills that got passed with our support, allocating hundreds of millions to Clark County in order to help fund emergency housing, transitional housing, affordable housing, working with Sandra Howdegi on a permitting bill to streamline that process so that more units can come online and address the supply side. So we have a variety there where we're trying to tackle to help address the affordable housing solution. We just firmly believe that rent control is not part of that kit, and so we were happy to report, like I said, that all of those bills did in fact die. Now, another one that's really near and dear to my heart, and Chris Bishop can attest to this, AB 220. That was a water omnibus bill or water conservation bill that was brought forward this session. It actually originated from conversations that started happening at the local level here at Las Vegas. So I don't know if many in this office have had to deal with septic tanks or a lot of the confusion around septic tanks and how they impact and kind of that cross section between water conservation and housing. But we're starting to see a tremendous impact on some deals, and Chris can attest to this as well. But what happened was we realized that all of these issues had to be addressed at a state level. Southern Nevada Water Authority agreed with us, and so they put together this, like I said, a water omnibus bill, AB 220. It incorporated many things, but one component of it was creating a subsidy program a subsidy program for for septic tank conversions. So originally when they came out with the moratorium, SNWA said no more septic tanks whatsoever. The homeowner will have to pay for it. So you saw homeowners getting quotes of $250,000, $300,000 in order to make that conversion with no relief offered by the local agencies. And so obviously that was a huge issue for us, and that was something that could wipe out the equity in a home if someone's been owning that for 20 years and said, oh, in order to make your home habitable now, you have to cough up $250,000. You can imagine what some homeowners were feeling when they got that quote. So we worked with SNWA. They were great partners of ours, and so because of that, they created a voluntary, so now instead of a moratorium, it's 100% voluntary, and it's 100% subsidized program in order to fund this conversion. So yes, we were very happy about that. Thank you. And so, and now it continues. So what happened so it started out as a local problem. The state needed to address it. The state has addressed it and provided that framework. It now gets kicked back to the local level, and we are engaging on it now where we're working with the local municipalities, Henderson, North Las Vegas, City of Las Vegas, Clark County, as well as, of course, SNWA and the Health District on crafting and hammering out the local language. So it is a complicated process, unfortunately, where the state passed the state language, the local agencies and local authorities adopt the state language, but they all like to try and make their little tweaks as they enact into their local code. So that is a process that we are in now. We hope to get it addressed sooner rather than later. And I believe the goal of this subsidy program and the waiver process, they introduced a waiver process for homes and parcels that are just not a good fit for this conversion. And so they're giving homeowners the ability to apply for a waiver so that they can still have a septic tank. So it's a very lenient language. We're very happy with where we landed with this one. But we're hoping that the public program can probably roll out, I'm going to say January. They told me end of this year, which probably means January at best. And so, but keep an eye out for that. We'll continue to update the membership. So other areas as well that we see is constantly, and this is more ongoing, multiple sessions we've seen this happen. We have seen your status as independent contractors be challenged at a state level for a variety of reasons. Another one is sales tax on your commission checks, which I'm sure you can all here understand why that would not be great for our industry and why we adamantly oppose that. There are a variety of ways that we see, like we say, impact to the real estate industry. But one in particular, though, that I like to use as an example that was very much so unexpected, but we all lived through it. But I use it as like a great example of what lobbying can really do was COVID, actually. So we're going back now two sessions ago. But I don't know if you remember when that list first came out for essential services, real estate was actually not deemed an essential service. And that was a lobbying effort by our firm. The association tasked Rocky and tasked the rest of the firm, make it happen, make a change. And so then the governor at the time listened to the advocacy, and the list was edited and came back out. Real estate was an essential service. You were allowed to operate, you were allowed to conduct your business during 2020 as a result of Rocky and the team and all that the Nevada realtors are able to kind of bring to the table. And that happens because of the impact. That happens because you are a very active association, that you participate both in voter. We're very proud of the fact that realtors vote at a higher turnout than the general public. Last election cycle, you were at 89%. Average voters usually around 60-some%. And so, yeah, it's tremendous. It's tremendous. And, oh, yeah. No, thank you guys. Thank you. And what it does is it allows us to go to it allows us to go to legislators and say, hey, you have about, let's see, 2,000 realtors that live in your constituent base. All of them vote at a higher rate. And that immediately piques their interest. That immediately makes them want to take note about what your issues are. And yes, we use your funds and RPAC, and I can't speak to that more, so I will let Keith take that at the end. But it allows us to have a voice and a seat at the table, and we wouldn't be able to advocate nearly to the level that we do without all of your participation and your engagement. And so if you have questions, I'm happy to take them, but I will say the ongoing issues that we see going forward, the water conservation is continuously going to be a thing. Like I said, we are hammering out the septic tank language for commercial agents in this room. I don't know, like I said, the makeup of this office, but evaporative cooling is an issue that NAOP has been handling on their side of the neck of the woods, so to speak, in terms of water conservation. But as it stands, the real property transfer tax, property tax formula, that is always an issue that we are seeing, and we do anticipate it to come next cycle. And so obviously you can imagine we're looking very closely. But just for your edification, the property tax formula in question, the components that legislators are really wanting to take a look at is how depreciation is used in it, as well as the caps that were introduced. So I know, fun times, fun times. And then, but I'm happy to take questions.
Any questions? And then while they're formulating questions, tell us about
Oh.
being a planning commissioner.
Oh,
Yeah, Serena is a planning commissioner, which is a big deal.
oh, thank you.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the experiences, and tell us for the projects you can talk about.
Sure.
Anything fun that we should know about, and then
Sure.
also particularly that stuff that lends towards affordable housing, because I know a lot of those funds that we've talked about are starting to get out on the streets. So
They
Yeah.
are. Sure. Yeah. So it was it's a funny story how I ended up as a planning commissioner. But long story short, yes. Long story
the
short.
PAC didn't listen to her. That's what it. The long story short.
Maybe so, but it all worked out in the end. So City Councilwoman Frances Allen Polensky with the City of Las Vegas, she did appoint me as her planning commissioner. Fun fact, I actually have my meeting tonight for the month at 6 p.m. over at City Hall. Do not watch, it's very boring, don't do it. So it usually lasts several hours, and we review anything from code violations to proposed applications for developments. Those are obviously a little bit more interesting to me than code violations, sorry, code enforcement. But some interesting projects, absolutely. I mean, all the work that they're doing around Symphony Park is pretty incredible. There's going to be a lot more units coming online around Symphony Park. They have a lot of goals to build that out as a really fully fledged downtown area. Another one is the expansion of Area 15. I don't know if you are all, I'm sure all of you are familiar with Area 15, but they are probably going to double the size, if not more, of Area 15. There's going to be hotels introduced. Universal Studios is going to build a full-time facility there near Area 15. They're going to put in more attractions, you name it. Fun fact, I had to approve a cannabis consumption lounge in Area 15. And most know that's not my wheelhouse, and so they're trying to tell me, like, look, so they're like, look at how great our facilities are. I'm like, oh, I'm sure this is a great facility, yes. But no, I mean, there's a lot of work being done. There's conversions of golf courses into affordable housing. That's a pretty unique project that might set a template if it's executed well for other golf courses that have been struggling, not as successful as others, and then allows them to convert that land into affordable housing. So some interesting work there. There is a lot of chatter about the Corridor of Hope, and homeless services and care as well. But what I would say is probably the biggest takeaway that I have that really helps us understand, both my team at Carrera, some of the forces that are kind of opposing affordable housing, is actually your next door neighbor. And it really is, and it's something that I think is kind of an interesting little thing to share, but I remember there was this one proposal for a townhome development directly on the 215 in the northwest part of town. So you can imagine it's quite literally on the 215. Their yards are backed up directly to 215. This isn't exactly ideal real estate by any means. But surrounding neighborhoods were outraged that these townhomes, these two-story townhomes were going to be built. You name it. They pulled out all the stops. I heard everything at that town hall meeting. About 50 homeowners showed up, and one of their arguments was, and this is not my words, okay, this is not my words. They said that townhomes are ghetto. They said that, X, Y, and Z, that it would lead to more crime. And I, of course, with real estate, right, you can look on the MLS. I was just curious. I looked at all of these homeowners and about what they purchased their homes for. Some of them purchased their homes 5 years ago for less than what these townhomes were going to sell for, right? It is all about the perception, and it's all about we want to advocate on the streets, and that is one thing that the realtors do best. You are on the front lines of advocating, right? You're on the front lines of talking to your clients, managing expectations for what their communities are going to look like in the future. And so it's telling these people, these are, first-time home buyers. These are young families that are trying to get started. And I am sorry, but if a townhome is going for $380,000, $400,000, and that is considered not great, then my goodness, I don't know what to say at that point. And so that is something that we see every time. Every time you see one of these developments get proposed, townhomes seem to spark fear in the hearts of so many homeowners, and so it is something for you to keep in mind, right? When you're sharing this with your clients, out-of-state buyers, or your sellers, it's all part of just the language that you use and how you kind of couch it. But I tell you, that has probably been one of the most eye-opening experiences. And fun fact, we're getting braced tonight. We may have obeyed the agenda item, but there is one coming up where they want to build a 7-story housing unit off of, I believe Charleston. You know where the Chick-fil-A is in Charleston and the highway, I-15? Yeah, 7 stories right there. And so that's going to be a direct test of the kind of 2050 City of Las Vegas master plan, where we've identified Sahara and Charleston as corridors for a higher density. Right, so you're multi-use, multi-income, higher density. And so this is one of the first kind of big projects that said, okay, you said higher density on the Charleston corridor, 7 stories, right? And so this is us testing, the code has been changed. But as you can imagine, there's a lot of older neighborhoods in that area as well, and they are all very much so coming out in force. They adamantly oppose it. So this is a really interesting dynamic to navigate. But yes, you're going to see a lot of development start to happen. Charleston and Sahara are in direct crosshairs to get built up as higher density, incorporate RTC public transportation down them, and so it's going to really change the feel of Sahara and Charleston in the years to come. You have other projects throughout the city, but Symphony Park is probably the one that I most enjoy. With the projects that are coming through, downtown continues to see development. I know that Derek Stevens with Circa, he's wanting to build another casino, so that should be interesting to see once that gets realized. You also see a lot of other developments, and you're seeing the 7 stories keep getting approved, and so the skyline will continue to rise, and that is something that we've worked with SNWA on, and SNWA is all for those taller, more vertical development. That really changes the whole entire Las Vegas community. For many years now, it's been single-family residences or bust, right? It's single family, and only now you're starting to see really quite an uptick in your townhomes and your condos and your duplexes, and so, and we're looking to advocate for more of that. But yes, Planning Commission is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing, but lots of fun things. If you're ever curious about specific kind of components or specific areas, I'm happy to answer questions. I know one of our biggest projects is redesigning La Madre Foothills master plan. So La Madre Foothills over kind of north of Lone Mountain, west of the 215. That entire area is currently being plotted out for a master plan. So there will be parks. There is potential for an amphitheater, potential for an ice rink to partner with the Golden Knights, so that there are high school clubs and teams that are able to practice in that northwest part of town. There are, obviously going to be housing little mini Main Street corridors identified in La Madre Foothills, equestrian trails planned to connect with Red Rock Canyon. Lots of really great stuff happening over there. So that's part of the process where you guys have a voice with that planning committee, and so it'll be hopefully a good product at the end of the day. But if you have any questions about Planning Commission or anything, happy to answer it. And then let's see.
The
Is there
Planning
anything else?
Commission is huge. It's huge. So the changes in the code, is it the 7 stories is the new 4 stories? It used to be 4 stories, but now is it 7 stories, or is that something different that was changed?
Yeah, so we have upped kind of the limit. So those 7 stories are definitely on the table, and you'll probably start seeing more of those types of developments approved in the areas that are designated. Another kind of high-density hub is Centennial Hills that was identified. So that kind of intersection, that has been identified as a high-density corridor, as well as the Sahara and the Charleston. And of course, Las Vegas downtown, that is definitely a higher density pinpoint. You'll continue to see a lot of interesting projects come through there. But like I said, the most fun one would probably be Area 15 and the Universal Studios. They're going to do an annual, I mean, 'tis the season, it's Halloween season. Universal Studios wants to do an annual year-round, like, horror amusement park type of thing going on there. So we will see how that goes. It should be interesting.
Good. It's huge. So anybody looking to do development out there, here's your girl. Chris, do you have a question? You asked it. What did I ask? Oh, sure, sure you did. So I got a question for you because you talked about the NIMBY, not my backyard. And I know you guys can't discuss, you can't get together and caucus and talk about it. But how do you get over there? Yeah, how do you get over that? Because I mean that's huge. I've seen some great projects that have been shut down because of influential neighborhoods. I mean, look at what we're paying for Badlands. I mean, what are we in the millions of dollars
Hundreds
for
of
that
millions.
fiasco? So, how do you guys get over the?
So when it comes to combating that, it really just is you sticking to your guns and counting your votes. So in many ways, it's a unique position for me to be in that my day job is counting votes on city councils or committees, and then planning commission is also all about counting votes. And so I can tell you, for instance, that townhome development that you had a bunch of neighbors that were opposed to, they were so angry that I even called a town hall for them to meet. We had the meeting, I had the developers there. We were able to make some concessions that are, in the grand scheme of things, pretty minor if it means that the development, the units actually come online. We were able to appease majority of the homeowners. Most of them just want to feel that they're listened to. And of course, there are a handful that were going to be angry no matter what, and you just have to smile at them, and then you have to vote to approve it, right? Yeah, it's essentially what you have to do. And then I work very closely with the city councilwoman that appointed me, and so we're usually always in lockstep that if it's approved at the planning commission, sometimes it's final action, sometimes that means it goes on to the city council regular, and then Francis Allen usually will vote just as I did. But sometimes you see your representatives or planning commissioners, if they're not prepared for a level of opposition, or they feel that they haven't done their homework, or if they just decide on the spot, actually I don't want to deal with this on a voting record type of thing, they can vote it down. They can vote it down, and I've seen that happen where 50 homeowners show up, and even if the project's amazing, then they will torch it. Now I know that one project that comes to mind is Clark County. They had the old Southwest Gas Corporation building. There was an incredible application that happened for that building. This company was going to come in, actually, fun fact, from Japan, so I'm not biased or anything, but this Japanese company was going to come in, they were going to buy it, and they were going to completely put in like all these restaurants, multi-use apartments, they were going to put in community garden, they were going to put, like, you name it, it was going to be an incredible development. But the neighbors pushed back, and they're like, there will just be too many people. There'll be too many people here, and the crime will probably increase, and our property values will probably go down. That is everything that we have ever seen. I know that the team is having a conversation actually about potentially the realtors conducting a study to try and see, is there any correlation between higher density and property value depreciation? And that is something that we know that I had a conversation with Mayor Ramiro the other day, and she is interested, Mayor Pamela Goins-Brown with North Las Vegas. They are interested in if we can provide that type of data or study for them to use as cover, as we call it, for them to use as cover when these homeowners come out in force and say, if you approve this, my property values go down, that is my retirement nest egg, you are harming me. We're able to say that is actually not the case, right? That is something that is not statistically proven, and X, Y, and Z. So that's a conversation that we're having that could be interesting, but
Might want to throw townhomes and crime in there too. in the studies.
townhomes, crime, and show the importance of how those types of developments interact with water conservation, have little impact on our water table, X, Y, and Z. There's a variety of things that we can do to provide to both planning commissions and to the actual elected city councils or county commissioners for them to use when they're being confronted with this, because they're getting confronted by it all the time. There are so many great projects that have been killed specifically for that one reason. Homeowners come out, say, we hate it, it's going to lead to crime, our property values will go down, and we will vote you 6 ways to Sunday in the upcoming next election cycle. Fun fact, I once got saddled with, so that townhome project that everyone hated, I love him dearly, but Stavros Anthony held Ward 4 before Francis Allen, and he is now our lieutenant governor, but it was campaign season, and so he tabled that entire project till after the election. So, and then I show up, he's like, oh, here's a fun project, goodbye, I'm off to Carson City. He was like, whoa, 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 wait. So, and you see that, right? They couch in terms of their campaign cycle, if they think it's a really thorny development problem, sometimes they just obey it. They kick it down the road as far as they can. So, interesting little things.
What other questions do we have? Anybody? What are some of the things that we can do as realtors to like, especially like infill property, things like that we could do to bring projects to you or to the city council, that we can do to spur not only affordable housing, but just housing, period. We have a huge crunch, and there's a ton of 5 to 10 acre parcels all over the valley. What can we do to help?
So there are 2 things. One is not so much, one is more for just to put on all of your radars. So I don't know if you are familiar with LVGEA, that is the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance, and they are partnering with RTC and Southern Nevada Strong, who will be actually speakers this week at the Political Affairs Committee. So RTC may touch upon this, but they're currently partnering to do a database study on infill in the valley. So what they are doing is they are trying to identify all of those lots that could be fits for infill development, pooling it together into a database that they will then give access to developers in town, so that developers can look through it, identify the specific parcel, and then know what the code, know what it's for, and then be able to propose projects specifically for that. So it's helping to eliminate them having to kind of look through and try and identify these on their own. The idea is that it's ready-made, very accessible, they're able to identify it immediately. But one thing for you guys is, I think I'll just use a personal example. I was in northern Nevada, tis the season of session, right? So I was commuting back and forth between Carson City, and my landlord actually in Carson City is a developer. But he was a developer in California for the most part, and he started to come into other markets, and he is doing like a hotel, workforce development, retail development in North Lake Tahoe. And I remember looking through his plans, and I was like, workforce housing. I was like, well, we need workforce housing. And I was like looking at this, I'm like, well, this is a really great project. And how did you get the financing to pencil out for all of this? And da 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 da. And then I was finally like, wait, why are you building in North Lake Tahoe? I'm like, I guess I understand Lake Tahoe, but also why not in Las Vegas? Why not in Southern Nevada? And he's like, well, I just never thought about it. Don't really know the market, never really considered it. I was like, whoa, wait, 1 second. And so all I did was I introduced him to the director of economic development in North Las Vegas, because after asking him questions, he said, well, I have one tenant I've worked with a lot that does Hispanic grocery stores. I was like, that is perfect for North Las Vegas. They need it. It's a food desert. And so it's identifying ways to partner people up that they both serve a common purpose, right? This guy gets a development project, but he's bringing forward more food options in North Las Vegas, which has historically been underserved. It's also great for the community that makes up a really important network in North Las Vegas. Jared Lug is the name of the director at North Las Vegas. He was thrilled. He was super helpful because that's part of his job. His job is to try and streamline it and make it easier for developers to get projects done. So if you know of people, or if you have ideas, or if you're able to put things together and say, hey, oh, this person I was talking to, well, they did this great development in East LA. I see waving in the back, yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, yes. And so you're then able to identify, okay, what municipalities can work. There's a lot of great things that can happen just by you outreaching. And if you're not familiar with who that best person, right? If you don't know who a Jared Luke of North Las Vegas is, then you can reach out to me, and I'm happy to kind of point you in the right direction. But a lot of the local municipalities want those projects to come before them. They want it to be built, but the best thing you can do is connect that person to them.
And that last story is why Serena was the most talented hire that Carrera's had, right? We're in that. One last question, Andrew. Do you have a quick one?
Really? Oh my goodness. Okay. I live and breathe this association, so for those who don't know, yes.
I'll repeat it.
Got it.
So the question is anybody trying to develop tiny home projects?
So tiny homes are an interesting one where you have local municipalities that are actively interested in tiny homes. There was some preliminary legislation that was passed at a state level to provide a framework. But I will actually touch base with, I know that City of North Las Vegas in particular is one that is really interested in tiny homes. But there are some regulatory hurdles that they have to pass. And I think the main thing is being in lockstep with your local municipalities to make sure you're meeting all the fire and safety and health code requirements. There was a story that came out about a tiny home community getting destroyed, but it was more of a shanty town than anything, and it failed to meet your basic health, safety, livability requirements. And so working with, if you have, work with reputable vendors, partner with the local municipalities and see what the code allows them currently. And if the code doesn't allow those types of projects to happen at this point in time, then that's something that we're able to lobby for. We're able to go to them and say, hey, is this something that can be changed at a local level? Then let's see if we can get it done as an agenda item. If it requires state import, then that's something that we then put as a recommending item for the next legislative session. So those are all things that we can look at. I'm happy to chat with you offline as well about it. But no, there's some interesting work being done. I know Nye County, speaking of rural communities, Nye County is currently reaching out to us to see if we can assist them on redeveloping their master plan, because well, that's kind of the problem. That's kind of the problem. So a couple of Nye County commissioners, fun fact, there are 2 realtors on the Nye County Commission. So they reached out and they said, hey, we're getting a lot. We're one of the fastest growing communities in Southern Nevada. There's so many people coming here. And we just want, we want to, touch base with our constituents and see, hey, do we have the appetite for growth, and unchecked growth or moderate growth, or do we want to go the Boulder City route? And so they're leaning more from an elected official side to allowing the growth, but they still want to touch base with their constituents. And then once they get that data, then there is a conversation to be had on what does the master plan at Nye County look like. Maybe there's a component for tiny homes. Maybe there is language in there that allows those types of developments to be created. But thank you for bringing it to my attention.
Give Serena a big round of applause. Thank you, Serena. And that's why it works. The local, the state, that last question was perfect for the local and state coverage of why it works. And none of it happens without your PAC dollars. Those PAC dollars, you're going to get your dues billing coming up pretty quick, that $50 that's on there. Don't sit there and watch the videos, just pay the $50, because this is what you're getting out of it. This is the stuff that matters, the essential services, all the property tax stuff, all the landlord tenant, all that stuff that comes washing through, along with the septic tanks and everything else. That's why it matters. So Brandon, you got something? Brandon has something for us.
I just want to publicly thank you for all that you do. She was a big instrumental part when I was president of LVR. She touched on it briefly about the North Las Vegas rent control issue. That was a bigger deal than you guys know. And they were able to strategize with us. We approved a lot of money to fight that from LVR, and she and Rocky and the team really worked on a strategy that we had to spend very, very little of that. And it became a legal strategy to actually get it so it didn't even make the ballot to be voted on. So it was powerful. So thank you for that. The other thing is our relationship with Carrera, Nevada is great and it's strong, and it's one of the reasons why we would never leave NAR or LVR or any of the associations, is because of the political advocacy that's done to help us in our industry. So many of us just sell real estate and run our businesses, but don't realize all the stuff being done on the back end to protect our industry. And with that being said, most of our leadership team is built of it. Chris sits on the PAC, he sits on the state board, he sits on legislative. Patty Kelly you're on the PAC and legislative, and Keith is the chair of legislative. Tom's the president of NVR. We're involved in all this stuff, and Janet's on board PAC. That's a local thing. But, and then, Vonnen is part of reading all the bills and everything.
So is
every year.
Tyson. Tyson's on
And Tyson's on board PAC now too. So we're involved in a lot of that stuff. So if you have questions or thoughts, anything political or whatever, reach out to Keith or any of us, because we've got great partners all across the board to help work through that. So, but thanks again. Thanks for your time for coming in today.
And sorry, I do feel like I have to say something now. And this office is really unique in that you do have so many leaders in our industry, all in the same brokerage. I mean, he pointed them out better than I could, but I just have to say, I hope you use them as an example of what it means to be involved. I know I grew up around real estate, grew up around property management. I know what it's like and how much time consuming the industry can be, but there is something truly rewarding in giving back and being part of the association and getting involved, and it is rewarding, just if nothing else, for the leadership that you can offer to the association or industry, and as well as just the people and the relationships that you build over the many years. So I just encourage it. You have great examples to look up to, and so with that, thank you so much for having me.
Perfect. There you go, people. Thanks for being here. I was being political before. You guys got to be idiots to leave NER, so I was just being political. But great leadership. That's why I'm here, to join Brandon and Chris and Patty and Tom. But more importantly, and I know Brandon will echo this, it's those that are coming up behind us. The Ellies, the Tysons, the Betas. Those are the ones that matter. Those are the ones that we need to support. Those are the ones that we need to encourage. That's the next wave. I talk about the bridge all the time. We're over the bridge. Brandon's in the middle of the bridge. Blanchard's wavering on that last 3/4 of the bridge. We're going across the bridge. Those are the guys that are coming up behind us, and those are the ones that we need our support. And that's what this company's known for. That's what the Signature Life is known for. And so be proud of it, and talk about it, and be supportive of it. And with that, get up, cheer, we're done, get up.